Okay, hello. We're back with the final of the 7 interviews. We're squeezing this one in just at the end. We got Dawn, we got Emerldd, we got the two titans of Hero Story here. How are you both doing today? How are you doing, Dawn?
Doing great. Thanks for having me. Super excited for this match. It's honestly going to be sick.
Yeah, for sure. And Emerldd, how are you?
Fantastic. I'm a little sleepy boy because I just had a bunch of food, but I'm chilling. I'm good.
All right. Well, this match was originally meant to be happening on Rival Battles 1, but unfortunately couldn't make it happen. But here we go. We got it back. We don't give up. We don't back down. And, we spoke about it just there. You've both got a long history with Hero Story in general, and you two are kind of, I think out of the runners up there at the top, you're probably the two most well-known in terms of a rivalry with each other, right? Dawn and Emerldd is kind of the one up there, right? So just talk to me a little bit generally about kind of your history with the category as a whole, because you both, I think, more than what a lot of people tend to realize, you both got a lot longer history than a lot of people tend to think. So Dawn, what's kind of your history with Hero Story and just maybe SA2 as a whole?
Yeah, so SA2 was one of the first ever speedruns I ever actually committed to for a long period of time. There was a while where I was looking at a whole bunch of different games, like SMS, Sonic Story, just a whole bunch of different games I was trying out, but nothing ever really that I stuck with until I saw, I think it was Mustache in SADX, and then he came back to SA2, and I was like, okay, well, that game is sick. I kind of want to watch this guy now, and then I started playing it. And yeah, this was back in probably 2014, 2015. And Draco Dan back then was like really trying to build the community. So as soon as he saw someone running the game, he was like, come join in races with us. Come keep playing Hero Story. Like every time you have a run, submit it and we'll verify it, whatever. And yeah, so I played it back then pretty casually. I was very much like, I'm not going to do any skips. I'm just going to play the game and try to improve my movement. And I never really wanted it to be a competitive thing. It was supposed to just be sort of a thing on the side. And then eventually I took a break and wanted to go be competitive at other multiplayer games, which mistake. And then after a while in 2020, I came back, and one of the first, pretty much like within the first few weeks, I was like watching a Seraphim stream, and then they rated M. And I was like, oh cool, there's this guy trying to make content, really good at the game, trying to like improve at the speedrun and actually try to become, like a content creator, do something with it as well. It's like, all right, I'm gonna support this guy. Like I want to see him go far. And I mean, we definitely have, right? M has like gotten partner, one of the only people to do it through SA2. And then, yeah, we both just started grinding the game like crazy. And I'm sure we'll get into it more. But, that first Hero Story tournament for me, I think was a really special one. I'm sure we'll get into that more down the line. But yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. And yeah, same question to you then, Em. So when it comes to how you sort of got into the game and speedrunning it especially, and also, coming to build up this rivalry and friendship with Dawn, what's kind of the story there for you?
So where it started for me was kind of early. So I got into speedrunning in like the very end of 2013 is when I like started watching speedruns. And pretty soon after, so like kind of like early 2014, maybe mid 2014 is around the time that I found like Talon. And that's like what initially drove me towards SA2 speedrunning, because SA2 is one of my favorite games. So I was just like, oh, this is like, the speedrunning thing is already really cool, and then people are doing it with my favorite game. So I was like, okay, well then I kind of just like kept it in the back of my mind, because I didn't have anything at the time yet to like really like record runs. Like I didn't have a PC, I didn't even have a laptop or anything like that. So just kind of something I kept in the back of my mind until 2016, when I had like my first like summer job. And basically the goal then was like, well, actually 2015, I had the job, saved money for 2016 to buy like a PC setup. And that's like when I got into like speedrunning. And the first game that I speedran wasn't SA2. The first one was, funny enough, Star Fox Zero, because I was really into Star Fox. Brand new, it had just come out like right around then. So then like, very brand new speed game. Like everybody was pretty collaborative and like working on stuff, but that run kind of sucks. There's a bunch of like RNG kind of near the end of it, and it's on rails, so you can't really do much. So then I was like, oh yeah, that's right, SA2. I remembered. I was like, oh yeah, I want to like play SA2. So I started back in like 2016. And at the time, like, because I was still so new, like, I had no clue, like, how to improve or anything like that. I didn't really know anybody. Like, some people would come into my stream, like Draco, like Taco, Aceny Taco, my goat. He would come in and, like, help out with, like, little tech and stuff like that. But I like, didn't take it, like, crazy seriously, but I, like, I wanted to learn skips. I wanted to, like, improve to a certain point. Like, I wanted to, like, kind of learn just how the game ran. Like, I just wanted to be able to say that I could speedrun the game. So I got to a point and then I had to go away to school and then I couldn't stream and like I really wasn't focusing on speedrunning and stuff like that. But then I came back the next year and then like played it for a little bit and then I got into more like competitive Smash and then so I've had a very on-off relationship with SA2 until quarantine happened, where I was just like, you know what? I want to stream. SA2 is like my favorite game and I enjoyed speedrunning it like on and off for however long. I think by the time I came back, I had like a 24, 20, maybe lower than that. Maybe, higher than that, like 25, something like that. And I was like, I'm going to take this seriously. So that's when I like really got into it. And I want to say it was like that same year, like I started that in like the spring. It was like October when I met Dawn. Dawn found my stream, like you just said. And we had become friends. I don't remember exactly how, but we eventually just became friends because we were both running the game. And then our rivalry has been always very like a kind of like a supportive one, I guess, which sounds kind of cringe and lame, but it's actually very true. Because like what happened was we would just like push each other to like practice a bunch. Like we'd just like sit in calls and stuff like that and like be like, yo, you want to run a Senti right now? It'd be like, I just got done streaming like 5-6 hours and it'd be like super late. And then it'd be like, hey, yo, you trying to do a Senti right now? And so we would do stuff like that, like all the time. And it just really we really pushed each other to just like get better. So,
yeah, well, there you go. Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. And, known each other a long time and kind of a lot of the community has kind of seen you two push further and further to the places where you are now. And obviously, in other places like tournaments and such, you both have entered your fair share at this point, and you've crossed paths a couple of times. I'm not sure what the record stands at right now in terms of results between the two of you, but I know, you've both come away with a win here and there. So to sort of ask about that, when it comes to going up against each other in a race, when it comes for you, Dawn, going up against M, what are the kind of the things which you know to look out for? What are the kind of the things that you know you're in for when you're going into a race against M? I know you've got a lot of experience. What's it like with this man specifically?
Yeah, it's actually pretty funny because if like originally when I met M, C skip consistency was really rough. But these days in a race, I'm like, okay, he's hitting it. Even if it's not first try, he's going to go back for that retry because he's just really good at the skip. And for me, especially early on, that was terrifying because I've really never had super good consistency. I think actually, like right before Frontiers came out, was the first time I felt like confident every time that I was going to hit it. And then it's like, okay, well, I don't even know if that's going to stick with me because I haven't really been playing the game as much for the last few months. Like, I've definitely been doing runs and stuff. But yeah, I don't know if that's going to stay the same as the muscle memory. But yeah, I'm honestly really consistent. Like, tail stages, really nice. I always know that even if I pop off, it's like, okay, he might have saved time on me there. It's like, damn, I don't even know how, it's like, okay, I just got to minimize basically. And then besides that, I don't know, like pretty just consistent overall. I feel like most of the time he's not really going to be missing any of the major skips. I think the only one, and this just kind of goes for anyone, is like you might miss wall run, but that's like really the only one that like anyone's going to do that. So it's kind of just like a 50-50. I know he's going to be consistent as long as I can play. Like it's pretty tough because I really do feel like either of us can take the win on any given day. So I never really fully know what to expect.
Yeah,
for sure.
And then for you, same kind of question when it comes to going up against Dawn. What's in store for you? What kind of things have you got to be on your A game with? What kind of stuff do you know Dawn is going to break out? They're going to make life tough for you.
Well, it's generally Knuckles for sure. I mean, like Dawn is a better hunter than me for sure, 100%. Has better knowledge than me. I feel like even if we're like getting like similar sets, he's going to come out with a time that's better than me. And like it really is, I think, like I'm pretty like, the way that I approach tournament matches is I approach all of them the same. It doesn't matter who I'm racing, whatever. It's my run. I just have to like go through it in the best way I possibly can. If there's any mistakes, I just gotta, keep going. But when I'm playing somebody like Dawn, who I know is really good at hunting, I know that like if I get like in a bad set, like let's say I like load into Pumpkin Hill and get like a 50 or something like that, like I'm thinking about that the rest of the race because I'm just like, oh my god, Dawn probably got like a 32 or something like that, and now I'm like way behind. So like I'm really got to make sure that like everything else is better because I just feel like that I'm not going to be able to outpace him with Knuckles. So I think that is something that is like kind of a bad thing for me, but definitely something I watch out for in a way, So
Yeah, for sure. And to kind of flip the script a little bit there, talking a little bit about what the strengths of Dawn are as your opponent. If you were to say what you've got as your own strengths, so they're kind of going to give you the edge in the race, going to maybe put you a little bit further out of reach. What kind of things do you think part of your game are going to be the things that swing things in your favor?
Wait for me. Sorry.
Yeah.
Definitely, like Dawn said, probably Tails. I mean, Tails is my most confident character by far, I think, of the three. It is just, I don't know. I feel like I just have a good grasp on mech movement and stuff like that. Like I feel very, very confident about like pause hovers and stuff like that. Like I definitely don't ever like think about that kind of thing. I'm just like, oh, tail stage. And then I just like happily play the game. And I don't know. I one of the things I think that just is like a strong thing for me is like a player in a race setting is that I will go for things that are fast but safe. So like for me, like if I'm going for wall run, I always go for moonshot in races just because for me it's more consistent. I know a lot of other people don't share that same sentiment because they think moonshot is like there is a lot of factors to it that make it like weird. But once you understand all those factors, you are golden. Like I feel like I am a professional moonshotter. You know what I'm saying? So like I don't go for it anymore in runs unless like I have to. Like I just don't have enough speed. But like in a race setting, I always go for it because I'm just like I know I can hit this. You know what I mean? So like I go for a lot of those like consistent and safe strats that just make sure that like I can keep the level-headed mentality. If something goes wrong, I'm like, okay, well, I'm doing the safe and fast strat, so it should be fine. Like, so mentality, I think, is huge for me too.
Yeah, for sure. I gotta say, professional moonshotter is like the kind of thing you put in your Twitter bio. I can't. That's
it sounds sick.
But yeah, Dawn. So the same question to you. Now, Em brought it up a little bit, perhaps with your hunting knowledge and whatnot, and the experience there. But kind of just generally as well, what do you kind of feel are your sort of strengths and your things that are going to edge you a little bit further towards that finish line with the win?
I think something that I have that's pretty good and helped me a lot in the few tournaments that I've done well in. I think at this point I've been in 3, and one of them I had like a really rough last day of the bracket and just like I think went 0-2 and got like probably my worst placement in the tournament. In speedrunning. And then the other 2, I nearly won the first one, and then the second one I actually did win. So I feel like those pretty much come down to a thing like, okay, so something I didn't really cover when I was talking about getting into Hero is that I actually was, getting reacquainted with the runners before I was even considering doing the game. And so I was getting to know a lot of them and asking them just really in-depth questions for someone who did not run the game. And so a lot of the things that people instilled in me was like the knowledge of backups and how important they were. And so I would ask people a lot of the time, like basically plan when I was implementing strats was basically just what do I do if this happens, and just flowchart of that. And really like understanding when I can take a risk. And I think there's some stuff like pole hop, for example, I've been preaching a lot lately that like you can make a lot of people will get on the pole and bail if you're not at the right time or whatever. But there's you can make like cycle lists and stuff, and it's something that me and Trader labbed out a ton. And I like understand that completely and how far I can push that and random stuff like that. On top of that, yeah, the hunting stuff as well. I thought it was something that was like super underexplored, and I kind of saw it as the way in. Like back in the day when Katie had a approachable hero story time, I was like, like if you get really good at the ILs, you could potentially catch up to this if you have something somewhere else. So something that I always wanted to push was, it might not be me, but if I can help get the community to a point where they can actually utilize this knowledge and like the confirm sets and stuff, maybe someone can use it to get to the point where they can catch up, even if their ILs aren't perfect or whatever. Maybe they can get there. And just through the nature of going through that and making these resources, I ended up learning them a lot. So there's a lot of knowledge that I have that will just randomly show up and then save you 10 seconds. So that is a thing that has definitely helped me through my tournament matches. And match to match, you don't really assume that you're even going to get a confirmed set or something that's confirmed knowledge, but when it does show up, it can win everything,
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we've seen races in the past where, just having that little bit of knowledge can swing it entirely, so having that reservoir, having that deep sort of pool of stuff to dive into when the time comes is always good. And yeah, no, so absolutely going to be an interesting one in terms of that regard, whether it's consistency, whether it's knowledge, whether it's risky plays, we'll see. But let's talk a little bit about times just for a second. So your two times are, I believe, less than 3 seconds apart these days on the board. You got 22:08 and 22:11. So yeah, very, very close together and separated by only 2 places. But in terms of what we got to come away with here on the day tomorrow, what time are you needing at minimum to come away with a win here? So I'll ask you first, Dawn. If you had to put a time on the table right now, you say, okay, yeah, that'll get me the win, at least. What are you saying?
God, I don't know. I mean, I don't even know if I'd feel confident saying 22 would get a win, I'd feel pretty happy if I got a 22. Like, even 22 5x, I'd be like, yeah, I probably won this when I opened the stream. And, like, I wouldn't be shocked if I lost, but I'd be like, damn, he also had a really good run. Because, it's hard to bust out a no reset 22. Like, playing within a minute of your PB at the top level is pretty tough.
Yeah, you walk away pretty satisfied with a 22. If your opponent also got that, then fair enough, right? And so I guess the same question to you, what sort of thing would you be coming away with here, at least with a somewhat smile on your face? What sort of time are you putting down?
I'll be honest. I mean, like, if I get a low 23, like in a race setting, there's a lot of like little things that can go wrong. So like, assuming that happens and assuming like I also go for like some of the strats that are like, fast but consistent. Like if I got a low 23, like 23-0 something, I'm like, oh yeah, this is a good race. Like if he got a 22, I'd be like, oh, you know what? Okay, you got it. And even if I got a 22, I'd be like, oh my God, I'm playing out of my mind. Like, I mean, it's really hard, I feel like, to get not only the RNG, but to just be playing like that well throughout the whole race, the whole match. So yeah, again, I think what we'll probably see from the both of us is probably somewhere in the range of a 23, but like 22, hey, it could happen. I mean, we're definitely capable of doing it. You know what I mean? It's just a matter of if the switch is on that day. So
yeah, for sure. Well, we'll see. Absolutely. And just a couple more questions to touch on before we finish up here. The thing I kind of want to ask you both, obviously, I know you've kind of been dipping into the Frontier scene, the two of you recently, if I'm not wrong. But just in terms of other stuff out there on the SASA front, specifically with things like this, events what's the word I'm looking for? Centered around races, like rival battles and such. Anything out there which, any matchups, any other runners out there who you'd like to see yourself come up against in a race setting, or, any other sort of categories that you'd like to maybe dip into a little bit on something like this? I'll ask you first, Dan. Actually, I know you're mostly a Hero Story guy, right? So
yeah,
yeah. But anybody in Hero Story that kind of tickles your fancy? Anybody out there?
Well, I've always I feel like I've had really good tournament races with like a few different people, honestly. Like
Mhm.
JW and I feel like have always kind of gone back and forth.
Mhm.
I think that would be a sick match to happen.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Um, but as far as like, do you also mean like just other people generally, right? Like just like, or do you mean specifically against me?
Well, yeah, that was going to be another question I was asked about, like maybe
Oh,
potential dream match, but
okay,
for
yeah.
yourself,
Well,
I'm
I
gonna,
was
yeah.
specifically for me, JW. I already said that. So,
Okay.
but against other people, um, hmm. Go to Dawn and let me think about it. I have to think about what specifically would be cool to see for like me personally.
All right, Don. So for you, anything,
Okay.
whether it's any Ace game that you'd like, and also a potential dream matchup out there between two other runners.
Okay, so I have two in mind for myself. I'll have to. Oh, actually, no, I have the other one too.
Mhm.
Okay, so the one that immediately came to mind, it's sort of out of left field, but I
Mhm.
think it would be kind of funny because I've been starting this thing of just like, okay, it's so out of left field, but it's really funny because me and Shovel just talk a lot of trash on each other, and so I think it would be really funny if we just like raced Knuckles' story or something. I don't know. I that just came to my mind, and I was like, that would be funny because we could just talk mad shit in the
That'd be
interview.
in it. Yeah, you know, I mean, that's what we like. That's what we want.
And yeah, our times aren't super far apart. Shovel is definitely better than me at Knuckles, but it's not like a like an irreparable distance or anything. So like if because I think someone else did that and it was like a best of three Knuckles story, right? Something
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that.
Nim and Spacebar last time out.
Yeah, that would be better to sort of equal out the RNG a little bit.
Mhm.
That'd be cool. And then the other one is outside of M, the other biggest rival I have is probably Aura, just from that one tournament race. I mean, speaking of like Knuckles confirmed set and knowledge, right? If
That's
Aura
yeah.
didn't go for tip of the top of the arc check, I mean, where would we be? You know?
I was, yeah. The words were coming out of my mouth, and I was thinking, I hope I don't, bring back any bad memories.
Yeah. I mean, it's such a hype race to watch. Like it's so far past me now that I'm like, damn, like I'm just glad I was a part of that.
Mm.
And then okay, so the dream matchup for other people, and I don't think I'll ever get tired of seeing it, is Katie versus Nixer. Sonic Story.
Mm-hmm.
That is a
Yeah,
sick one, yeah.
that would be awesome.
It would
Especially
definitely be a great one
since
as well.
Katie's like decently in form right now. Just got a
Yeah,
PB for the first time in years, so
yeah,
probably
she's back on it.
the best time.
Absolutely, yeah. Any one of those like sort of top three Sonic story runners going up against each other, even like Refrag against Katie, would be
Yeah,
something sick to see at the moment. That'd be
yeah,
really special.
they're
And
so
so, Em,
close right now.
we come back to you. Have you managed to think of anything?
Yes, I've actually thought of a couple, which makes it kind of hard for me to pick now. But
That's okay. You can
one
also
of the
think.
ones that's like less feasible because he just doesn't really play as much anymore is
Mhm.
Trader versus pretty much anybody in like the top echelon of like hero story. I would just love to see Trader back on SA2 and like playing and racing because he's
Mhm.
so good. He's
Mhm.
genuinely just such a great runner, and it's just like I don't know. I don't want people to forget that Trader is just kind of sick. So
Yeah, yeah.
that is like a kind of like a dream thing that's probably not going to happen, but a dream thing that could happen is watching Joey and Deku in Heroes with like either Chaotix or like Rose. Like
Mm.
I just think that like I mean, Deku is obviously like insane at Heroes, but Joey has been catching up, dude. Joey is really he's been pushing Heroes a lot recently, and it's really sick to see him like just grow and just become an extremely talented runner. So
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of runs in that sort of hero space, a lot of matchups in that hero space that look pretty exciting on paper. I know there's a couple of lower down ones, really. The one that I want to see is KPL against Vintage. Everybody talks about that one because apparently those two are just probably the biggest smack talkers, a bit like you mentioned with
oh,
Shovelly.
see, that's how
So,
Yeah,
gotta
that
have a
would
match
be.
like that with like have them in the booth with like the mics on. That would be so funny.
yeah, that'd be
That would
sick.
definitely be something. But yeah, no. So just sort of one more thing before the final send off. Then really, just bringing it back to this event here now. So scrubbing away the dreams, we got the reality. We got 6 other matches on the card, which are going to be happening alongside you guys. Is there anything that's caught your eye, and are there any predictions that you've got in mind? So I'll ask you first, Dawn.
Yeah, let me look. Is there a yeah? Okay, I'm pulling up the thing and announcements because I don't remember every match.
Mhm.
I need to do the
Honestly,
same.
honestly, a lot of sick matches. Space
Mhm.
versus Pasta is really cool because they're both very much like, Space is definitely branched out, but they're both sort of Amy One Tricks was kind of the thing. At least they were, maybe not anymore, but that is a really cool matchup. And then obviously the main one, Drum versus Hedera. I don't know. That one's so hard to predict because Drum is obviously super cracked. He'll just randomly come out of nowhere and then like get a record or close, right? It's just like, okay, how? But Hedera's also been on the come up, and I haven't seen Drum run SA2 in a while. So honestly, I think maybe hot take, but I think there's a good shot Hedera wins that.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. But yeah, no, big call. We will see it. Tomorrow's the day. Tomorrow's the day. And then same thing for you. Anything catching your eye?
Well, it's lame because it's the same. I mean, I'm really looking forward to Drum Hedera, but let me pick one. Let me pick one.
Sorry, I stole two. That wasn't fair.
Yeah. Well, it's not fair because that's the one I'm actually looking forward to watching that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm defaulting to the same one. I just think that's
That's
going to
okay.
be so.
Do we have
Don
a
already
prediction?
kind of like said. I think that also I honestly because I was trying to figure out which one I think I'm looking forward to the most as well. I don't know. Has Drum been playing a lot recently or
Not a
no?
lot.
idea.
No.
And I definitely think I'd probably end up giving it to Hedera. But like Drum is always just so consistent in a tournament setting. Like he is just he's very, very, very consistent. He's just a really good player all around. So I mean, it's definitely going to be close, but I definitely think the edge is to Hedera just because she's been playing so much more recently. So
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. We'll see. Every single one of these matches is almost too close to call. So we'll find out. That's going to be the thing tomorrow. And yeah, you guys are going to be just one of the 7 tails on the tape. But yeah, thank you both for joining me because that'll just about bring us up to the end of it and the end of all of our interviews now. Actually, I'm happy we managed to get them all squeezed in because we were running a long time. But thanks for hopping on in here, gamers. I appreciate that. But the final thing, just one more, would be: do you have any final words to your opponent before we sign off? Dawn, do you have anything left to say to M before tomorrow?
There's one thing I wanted to talk about real quick first, but it's kind of crazy. I actually don't think, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think we've actually played M in a tournament since that first one in 2021.
Believe not.
I'm not sure.
No.
Yeah, isn't that insane?
There was times where we thought it was
right?
going to happen.
Yeah,
Twice.
So so the three of us in this call have a funny story for that one because I remember I got seated second. I had to take a break from SA2 for a bit because I needed a new PC, right? And so I wasn't doing hero runs, but I was ILing. So I had to improve to what felt like a 22 level, but obviously for seating reasons they couldn't just put me there because I had a mid 23 or something. And then I get a 22 mid tournament, so the funny thing was, I'm pretty sure you were the one doing the draw, Tethys. And I was if you put me in a pool with this shit is rigged. And then it happened.
I'm always pulling the strings, I've been a matchmaker since day one. It's just
I was mad. I remember being mad. I was like, what the heck, man? What's going on? Yeah. I mean, of course, I wasn't genuinely mad, but I was just come on.
The pieces were falling the second time around as well, because I'm pretty sure we had the first 2 names the same, and then
it's almost
it was
the same
oh god, here we go again. But but yeah,
it's been a while.
What was it? I think M won in pools, and then you won in bracket. Was that right?
I think I won both actually. Let me look. I still have them archived.
I think you did.
Yeah, I got a mid 23, and then I don't have the finals one. But we played in losers finals, and that was super hype. Honestly, I was like, dude, win or lose, I'm happy. I just made it here.
Seraphim on comms.
Yeah, that was awesome. But yeah, I'm super excited to race M. It's been a while since we've raced in some sort of official capacity. We race all the time on his stream or offline, but it'll be cool to do it in what feels a little bit more like a tournament setting, and hopefully it'll be a flash forward, I guess, to what can be a summit match or spring qualifier if we both end up doing that as well.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see for sure. Absolutely. And then, any final words before we sign off for Dawn?
Nah, man. Good luck. I mean, I
GL.
think it's gonna be. GL. It's gonna be a close race. Fuck you.
You're going down.
Didn't need to get hostile on him. Damn, god damn.
No, but it'll be a good race. So I'm I don't know. Just play your best, man. That's it.
Yep.
All right then, gamers. Well, thank you very much for hopping on. Been an absolute pleasure as always, and I hope you have a good rest of your night. So, for everybody, we will see you back here tomorrow for the full event, full Rival Battles card, starting at 2 p.m. Eastern. Don't miss this one. Don't miss any of them. It's all going to be a great series of matches, and we can't wait to see you there. So yeah, thank you once again, gamers, for hopping on, and we'll see you soon. All right, take care.
Thank you.